This podcast is proudly brought to you by the Sightshed's Learn and Ski initiative. It's a program we kicked off back in August of 2016, where I took a group of enthusiastic business owners from all over the country over to New Zealand. Actually, it was in Wanaka in New Zealand, where we took part in the very first Learn and Ski program. We skied in the morning, and then we did a business workshop in the afternoon. It was a fantastic time. Everyone had a great experience over there. And it was so good, in fact, that this March, we are launching the second Learn and Ski. And this time we're taking a group of trade-based business owners from all over the country to the lovely Japan. And we're actually going to a place called Hakuba, which is in the Nagano region where the Olympics was held. I've personally been there. It is a crazy, crazy place, just full of a ridiculous amount of snow, and it's going to be an unbelievable experience. Sadly, we can only take 20 people to this one, obviously due to logistics. It's not the easiest thing to coordinate. So a quarter of the tickets are already sold as we've been emailing our group. However, if you are interested in the snow and you do want to learn about some unbelievable business initiatives that can help you compound your business this year, then this event is certainly for you. We're going to be talking, I'll just touch a little bit on what you'll learn over there. We're going to be talking about specifically strategies and marketing campaigns that we've implemented with our clients that bring in, up to 2 to 10 leads every single day. We're going to talk about the most common elements you need to have on your website that can make or break your lead generation efforts. And we're going to talk about how you can turn your, tire kickers into customers, and more importantly, how to turn those customers into raving fans. And then we're going to go through some step-by-step workings together with you personally on how to set up your very first Facebook ad campaign. We're also going to talk about systems and processes that can cut down your admin work. And while we're over there, internet permitting, we're actually going to hire somebody live during the week with the hope that you guys can learn how to hire somebody to outsource some of your office managerial tasks, etc. We're going to have some breakout sessions there where we're going to focus specifically on your business. And I'm holding this event with Will from Growth Labs, who you guys would have heard on the podcast previously. Will is just a marketing guru, and we're just going to be doing heaps of stuff coming up. He's also an avid skier. So yeah, it's going to be a fantastic event. So the dates are going to be March 4 to March 10. The location's in Hakuba. If you want more information about what the package includes and everything, then head across to the sightshed.com/Japan 2017. All the information is on there. And I stress again, there's only 20 tickets to this. Over a quarter of them are gone, which means that if you want to get in, you want to get in quick. Now, this has gone out to the podcast community, so I can't imagine they'll last too long. It's extremely good value for what it is. It's just a way that I can help you guys spend a bit of time investing on your business while also taking you to an amazing location where we can just have a whole heap of fun while we're there. You 100% you'll enjoy it. And this is what one of the other attendants said about the 2016 event.
Yeah, I went to Learn and Ski 2016 in Wanaka. It was fantastic. We had a good time on the mountain, and we also learned a little bit. And I found it really great networking with the guys and sort of meeting some other guys in the trades. Yeah, just a really great experience.
So anyway, folks, there it is. You've heard it from one of the attendees. It's going to be an incredible event. Get across there. You're going to learn a whole load of stuff that you can implement straight into your business. I mean, all the information in the world's useless unless you implement it. And we're actually going to sit there and help you implement it. So, I mean, it's worth that alone, regardless of the world-class skiing. Head across to the sightshed.com/Japan 2017. Get it locked in quick, otherwise you'll miss out. Hello and welcome to part 1 of the How to Kill It on YouTube series that I'm conducting with my co-host for this series, Stan Genadek, who was referred to us from Tom Reber. Stan is from a company called Dirt Monkey University, and as a landscape gardener, Stan has built an empire out of YouTube. And as contractors and tradies and all you guys that listen to this podcast, I firmly believe and I know for sure that if you guys can get good at using YouTube to your advantage to promote your business, you will do really well. Stan is a guru at this, and I'm not kidding, this series has been incredible. This is the introduction to episode 1, which is called Getting Started with YouTube. And in that episode, Stan dropped some absolute bombs there on basically what you need in order to start a YouTube profile correctly and make sure that you're targeting the right audience and all the stuff that is really paramount to seeing it succeed in the initial stages. So enjoy this podcast. Following episodes are creating great videos and using your videos to generate income. I encourage you to head across to the show notes if you're listening to this through iTunes or whatever, because there are some awesome links to some of Stan's stuff. Also, you got to go check out his YouTube channel. It's pretty awesome. And if you're in the landscape gardening industry, business, whatever, then you will certainly love that. But there's also a link in there to a course that Stan has developed on how to get the best results out of YouTube, setting it up. It's called the YouTube Cram course, and you can get in there and you can actually grab that. And yeah, that'll be excellent in helping you implement what you hear out of this series. So I hope you enjoy it, guys. If you do enjoy it, please be sure to leave us some comments in iTunes. It really helps. There'll be links on the show notes. And also, if you've got any questions or whatever, just reply to the comment section within the show notes there, and I'll get back to you, or I'll get Stan back on the show to answer it. Failing that, if you see this on Facebook or one of the other social media avenues, then by all means, just leave a comment there and someone will be able to reply to that or loop Stan into the conversation and get him to reply to it for you. So anyway, I hope you enjoy this, and let's dive right in.
Giving tradies and contractors around the globe the tools to run a modern business. You're listening to Toolbox Talks from the Site Shed. Now here's your host, Matt Jones.
Hello, listeners, and welcome back to the Toolbox Talks on the Site Shed podcast. And I'm joined today by Stan Genadek from dirtmonkeyu.com. Stan, welcome.
Hey, thank you, Matt. I appreciate it. It's nice to be here. Nice to be in front of your audience. So I appreciate the opportunity.
So for the listeners out there, Stan, you actually got referred to us by Mr. Tom Reber, who was on our show just previous episodes, and he said that you'd be a good guest on the show. And I did a bit of research, and it appears that you are the YouTube master. So we've had a bit of a collaborative email battle here, and we've come up with a series which we're going to title How to Kill It on YouTube. Mate, I'm really intrigued, actually. I'd love to hear a bit about, but I suppose before we dive into this episode, into this series, I'd love to hear a bit about you, about where you've come from, and the background of dirtmonkeyu.com. Can you shed a bit of light on that for us?
Well, actually, I'm going to go a little bit deeper than that real quick, Matt. I'm 45 years old. I've been in contracting, doing dirt work since I was 13 years old. Okay. And so I've got 32 plus years of experience of digging in the dirt, building retaining walls, doing landscaping, digging basements, demolishing houses. And about 2-3 years ago or so, air quoting because I don't remember, I don't bother to pay attention to things like that, I was asked to host a podcast. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the guy that asked me to host the podcast, I'm like, you're flipping nuts. I says, contractors. I said, you're making me laugh, man. I said, contractors don't listen to podcasts. And I couldn't have been more wrong. He's like, please just do it. Just give it a shot. And I'm like, okay. And so then I was like you, I was out looking for guests. I was interviewing people, and I was starting to really get into the move and groove of the situation. And I stumbled on YouTube. And actually, one of the guys from my crew said, hey, you got to go interview Keith Kalfas. He's on YouTube. So I called up Keith Kalfas and I started talking to him, and I just hit it off with him. And he's like, Stan, you got to go out and you got to post some videos. Now, at that point, Matt, I had already posted some videos. In fact, at that point, I had been on YouTube for 5 years. Okay. And in that 5-year time, I had posted 25 videos. And out of the 25 videos, I had gained a whopping 100 subscribers in 5 years. And that was all 100. I'd say 99 of those subscribers were because I posted one video on my aquarium. And 99 of my 100 subscribers wanted to see more stuff about my aquarium. Nothing to do about my business. Okay. So that shows you how successful I was on YouTube.
I can relate to that.
Aren't you glad you got me on this podcast now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so here's where the story takes it from there. I don't want your listeners to go, well, why the hell am I listening to this guy, even though they probably already are. I started to understand that YouTube is a flipping science. You can do it like I did it for 5 years, or you can do it like I did it in the last 18 months, where I went from being excited about having 100 views on a video. Now I have anywhere from 1 million to 2 million views per month on my channel, and I get on average 100 to, over the weekend, I got 2,000 new subscribers.
Wow.
On my YouTube channel.
Wow.
So once you understand that it's a tool and you've got to use this tool and you've got to be able to manipulate and understand exactly everything that goes on with YouTube to fit your business, it can be very powerful. But it took me 18 months of obsessing. I mean, Matt, we're talking about, I would sit up till 2 or 3 in the morning studying other people's videos, going, what are they doing right? What are they doing wrong? What can I take away from what they're doing in their niche and apply it to what I want to do? How can I use that to make money in my business? How can I grow my YouTube channel? And then all of a sudden I realized, not only can you make money for your business by using YouTube, you can make YouTube as a business in and of itself. It is literally the only marketing that I do for my landscaping company, Matt,
Right.
that pays me every month.
So you still have you still run a landscaping company?
Well, that's where I make most of my money from.
Gotcha.
Is from landscaping. I've ran a landscaping company for 32 years.
Gotcha.
I mean, I've got crews of guys that go out working every day, and I mean, I don't have to advertise anymore because of all the different systems that I've implemented and the fact that I've been around forever and a day.
Gotcha.
So yes.
Okay, cool.
I'm a contractor first and foremost, and then a YouTuber after the fact.
That's awesome. So we've had a bit of an email battle back and forth, and we were talking about, I suppose, how we can structure this series, and we've come up with How to Kill It on YouTube as the series title, which I think is pretty appropriate. And then we've broken that series down into 3 episodes. We have Getting Started with YouTube, we have Creating Great Videos, and then we have Using Your Videos to Generate Income. Now, in your opinion and in your experience, are these kind of 3, I suppose, paramount topics that you consider critically important to building a good YouTube profile?
Well, if we're going to try to break it down into its simplest components, we could use this as a framework.
Yeah.
Although what I'm going to share with you today isn't probably going to fit nice and tidy into that package.
Perfect.
Okay. Because there's so many working pieces to creating a YouTube channel that will grow and promote your business. And what I really want to do, Matt, is before we get totally into this, I want the listener to understand 2 things. There's 2 ways you can use YouTube. One way is to promote your business, my excavating business, my landscaping business, your business, whatever. If you're a contractor and you install, cabinets, I don't care what you do, you can actually use YouTube to promote that business. But then there's also the secondary fact that YouTube in and of itself becomes a business the more successful you get at it.
Okay.
And so they're not the same either, Matt. They're really not. How you go ahead and formulate your videos and the strategy you use is similar but different enough that you've got, and we need to cover that component. Okay, so I want to make sure that we don't forget that. And that involves in how you tag it, how you title it, how you do the data behind the scenes.
Okay.
On the video itself. And what you really are trying to do in that specific case is you're trying to create a video that will go to your customer. Now I'm going to use I'm in Minnesota, Matt. All right. Mm-hmm. So if I'm in Minnesota, I don't want anybody from northern Minnesota that's 4 hours away watching my video on how to do landscaping. What I really want to do is I want to get that video in front of my specific customer base, which is within a 20-mile radius, and I can create videos, post them on YouTube that will hit that specific market. And then I can just tweak that same video, change a few things, and create a video that will go worldwide.
Right.
And it's a strategy in and of itself.
Okay, cool. I'm really interested to hear that because I think that's one thing that a lot of people. Let's be honest. I think that's pretty common with anybody that creates any sort of content. Where they typically drop the ball is in the space of how to optimize it correctly and how to get that piece of content to the right audience. So I think that will be very valuable to our listeners out there.
Okay. Yeah. Good.
All right. Well, look, are you happy to dive into episode 1, getting started with YouTube?
Of course.
All right.
Let's get the ball rolling.
All right, right on. So I suppose what I'd like to ask you, first of all, is some of the pain points that having a YouTube channel can alleviate. I mean, I'm curious because I know, I mean, obviously there's, as you just mentioned before, there's the whole, it's obviously a lead generation tool. Like you can use it to attract customers and potential customers, etc. What are some of the other things that, in your experience, you've found that having a solid YouTube channel can eliminate?
Okay, rephrase that. And Matt, here's the thing, Matt. I'm Polish, so you're going to have to talk real slow and say things in very simple words for me, all right?
Yeah, gotcha. Sorry, and I know I have a funny accent, so.
Okay, so when you say eliminate, are you just rephrase the question for me? I want to make sure that I'm hitting on all cylinders here.
So what are some of the pain points or some of the problems that people might try to fix by starting up a YouTube channel? Like, what are they trying to improve? What areas of their business or whatever it is?
Well, the first thing I want to say is that if your audience is mostly contractors, is that right, Matt?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, so for contractors, YouTube is a phenomenal resource because it is the ideal tool to show before and after pictures. And a lot of contractors, a pain point for them is they don't actually follow up and provide a real thorough before and after scenario of their projects. So for some of these guys out there, when they're transforming someone's home or they're doing work or they're trying to do something where they're using it as a sales tool, YouTube does all of the work for them, to the point when you create a good YouTube video, a lot of times all you have to do is show up on time to your appointment. I literally have had my jobs sold because of the videos without ever meeting the customer. I showed up, I just introduced myself, and a job I just wrapped up was just pre-sold. I showed up and they're like, yep, that you're the expert. We want you. I've been asked to fly all over the world to consult on landscaping jobs. I'm in Minnesota. I've done consulting jobs all the way down in Texas on issues. So because people can tell your level of education and knowledge just from a YouTube video. And here's what I know about contractors. These guys are technical experts for the most part. These guys have a wealth of knowledge, but a lot of times what's lacking is their ability to present that knowledge to their customers.
Yeah.
A lot of times what they're lacking is the ability to comfortably go face to face with the customer and to be able to relate with that customer on a one-on-one basis, that they in fact are the expert on the specific service that they are providing. And trust me, they are. They really are.
Yeah.
But the skill in just translating that is often lost. Yeah. Now, you can create a YouTube video, but here's the challenge. It's even tougher to create a YouTube video and be comfortable in front of the camera than it is being comfortable in front of a person. Okay? A lot of times that takes practice. And I don't know if you want to get into that now or if you want to get into that later. It doesn't make a difference to me because these are all points we need to cover.
We'll jump into that in episode 2, I think, because then we're going to be talking about creating great videos. And I think that's sort of pretty critical component of that episode. How I suppose, like keeping on topic with this this episode here, I suppose one of the things I would like to ask you is like about the planning aspect behind creating a YouTube channel. So, things like first of all, is this directed to anyone specifically? Like, is there a certain type of business that would better suit having a YouTube channel than another? So trade business, obviously, we're talking about contractors here. So, in your experience, would somebody that does COD work, so they work for clients directly. It could be a landscaper, it could be an emergency plumbing service, it could be an electrician, whatever. Does that type of business typically suit having a YouTube channel over somebody that might, for example, do construction or something like that?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
If your customers use a computer to find a service,
gotcha,
you should be using a computer to get your service in front of them.
Yep.
YouTube is Google's grandchild.
Yep.
Okay. When it boils right down to it, the number 1 and 2 search engines in the world are Google and YouTube.
Yep.
Right?
No. Yep.
And so when you get your videos on YouTube, you're automatically getting priority within Google. So it doesn't make a difference if you're a contractor or if you do something else, if you do web design or anything, any type of information exchange, you should have videos on YouTube. Now, it's going to be more challenging for some people to create YouTube videos depending on the subject, but I've seen a chiropractic channel that has 65,000 subscribers on it, Matt. He's at a shooting range. He's shooting a pistol. He's sighting in a pistol. And I'm watching. I'm going, wait a minute. This is a chiropractor, and he's just shooting a video, a sighting in a pistol. What does that got to do with anything? And at the end of it, he's like, yeah, and go check out my chiropractic office for whatever adjustments you may need or whatever. And in reality, excuse me, it's brilliant. It's brilliant because people are getting to know the person.
Yeah.
And people love getting to know the person that they're going to have come out to do their job. And a person becomes the personality of the company. And that is easily related in a YouTube video. Absolutely. So
I'm really glad you just said that. I've got a client at the moment who's he runs a leadership consultancy business, and we're just working on him with content creation. And he's doing a lot of videos, like short video snippets, and everything has always been, quite a polished production, and it's always been like it's very much about the topic of leadership. And I said to him, we've got to try and make this more relatable to people. We need you to be less polished, and if you're on the golf course, pull your camera out and film a short thought, or if you see something while you're driving along, pull your phone out and it's just something that makes it a little bit more relatable to everybody. It doesn't always have to be completely polished and always about the specific topic that your business effectively represents or teaches on or whatever it is. Sometimes it's just about being more relatable to people so they get to know, like, and trust you more.
So here I want to touch base on that very specifically, Matt. I want to warn your listeners against random vlogging. Don't pick up an apple and go, this is the most delicious apple in the world, and I really like eating apples, and I can't wait for my mom to bake me an apple pie. Don't do that, okay? But you do want to be relatable, and people don't like to see perfection because you make them feel inferior. Yeah. When you are perfect and polished, people want to tune you out. Yeah. But when you are real and raw, when you have mistakes, I'll tell you straight up, if you go to my YouTube channel and you look at one of the last videos I just made, the day I broke my excavator and all hell broke loose. I talk about all the flip. That's literally the title of the last video I made. It's got like 400,000 downloads right now. And it is nothing but all of the problems I had on one of my jobs. Okay, so you're probably an audience maybe going, well, what, is this guy just full of mistakes? Yeah, because it's real. Everybody has problems on job. And I talk about how you address those problems, how you move forward, and how you still do good work for your customers and how you handle all of the issues that come up. And the comments, when you start reading through the comments, you realize that people, you've just struck a chord with them. They can go, oh my God, this guy isn't perfect. He has problems. I have problems. And they start telling you about their problems. Like the time they ran their tractor out of engine oil, or the time they froze up their fuel line, or something like that. You have just given them something that they can give back to you. If you're perfect, they're not going to be able to give back, because what are they going to do? They're going to comment about how amazing and awesome they are. If they are, they're an egotist.
Yeah.
So,
Stan, I'm curious. Yeah. So when we're talking about finding, or I suppose really targeting in on a niche, so one of the problems that I see often is companies that come to us, and there might be a plumber or electrician or a builder or whatever it is, and they try to be too much to everybody, whereas we really try and encourage them to niche themselves into certain areas of that trade. Do you? Well, for a number of reasons. Obviously, for one, and the main reason is it makes it a lot easier to market yourself as the expert within a certain niche, as opposed to trying to be everything to everybody. Do you have a similar experience with YouTube? And what I mean by that is, if there's a plumber out there listening to this video, this podcast, and they say, okay, well, I'm going to build a YouTube channel around being a plumber in Melbourne. Would you recommend doing that, or would it be better to niche yourself and say, okay, I'm the expert in leak detection in Melbourne or in Victoria or whatever it is?
Well, when being a plumber in Melbourne, I think that would be as much of a niche as you need to go.
Okay.
Because then you can do videos on leak detection in Melbourne, and you can do a series of videos on leak detection in Melbourne.
Yeah.
And when you really want to craft yourself into that plumbing category, and you're going to look at, what are the niches that are recognized by YouTube? The easiest way to do that is there's two programs you can use. You can use YouTube itself, and you can use a program called Keyword Planner. Okay. Now I'm going to focus on YouTube itself. I want everybody to go to YouTube that's listening to this when they're done with this podcast. When they go on YouTube, start to fill it out on a computer. If you use your phone, you're not going to probably get the same results, or if you use your TV. But when you're on a computer, desktop computer or a laptop, you start to fill out plumber in, and you're going to see YouTube is going to finish the sentence for you.
Gotcha.
And what it's doing is it's giving you, YouTube at that point is giving you the most popular categories.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you want to develop YouTube as a business in and of itself, and you want to know how popular a search term is, that is what you use. Or a program called Keyword Planner. Keyword Planner is you type in very specific words into Keyword Planner, and it tells you how popular those searches are.
Yep.
So when a search is popular in Keyword Planner, it's going to be popular on the internet. It's going to be popular on YouTube. But that tool you may want to use more specifically when you are trying to develop of your business and market your business through YouTube. Okay. And what I want to, I'm sorry, go ahead, Matt.
No, I was just going to say now, how does that correlate into finding your audience? But I guess you're probably getting to that.
Okay. So that's a phenomenal question. If you are a plumber in Melbourne and you want to get in front of people in Melbourne, right? You're going to type in plumbing Melbourne. You're going to go through all of the different terms that you think local people are going to be searching for. They're not going to search for master plumber. Some irrelevant keyword phrase. They're going to a person sitting down that's got a emergency plumbing Melbourne, Australia, right? Mm-hmm. They're going to do, and you're going to title your video to match those specific keywords, and you're going to be able to see how popular they are. They're probably not going to have a high search rate, but you're still going to be applicable to what you are doing. So you're going to title your video that. You're going to have that listed within the text of your video and then in the tagging of your video. One of the things that I need to point out before we get too far into this is there's two things you've got to understand when you create a video. You create a video for Google, and then, Matt, you create a video for the end user. Google's algorithm is a computer, and it never watches your video. It's not going to look at what you create and then categorize your video for you. Okay? It's not going to have any clue what's in your video. Nobody is going to know what's in your video except your end user. So for Google to go, where do I place this video that this person created? It relies entirely on the title of your video.
Yeah.
So emergency plumbing in Melbourne, it may be something that local people need. That's what you're going to title your video. Okay. And then you really want to drive home to Google where you want your video to be found on YouTube and the internet in general. Your first sentence is going to be emergency plumbing in Melbourne. It's going to closely match. And then you're going to take that first paragraph, 5 sentences, and you are not going to go over the top with keyword stuffing. Maybe people don't know what keyword stuffing is. Never keyword stuff your videos. What keyword stuffing means, you just type in plumbing, emergency plumbing, plumbing repair, and it doesn't make any sense, and you just do 100 different variations of plumbing. Although it's effective, when Google catches on to that, YouTube's going to punish you and maybe even make you remove that video. But what you want to do in the description is you want to say, we offer emergency plumbing repair in Melbourne, Australia. We do leak detection. We can do general plumbing repair. We can do toilet installation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, are you still with me, Matt?
Yeah, I got you. It's kind of, it sounds to me like it's almost basic SEO principles, search engine optimization principles.
It is.
Okay.
It really is. It's the basic principles, but you got to minus out any of the techniques that are going to get you punished by just stuffing the keywords in that description.
Yeah, of course.
Now, in your tagging, is a third component for Google that you're going to be teaching Google where you want your video, and you're going to say plumbing in Melbourne, right? And you're going to say whatever emergency plumbing Melbourne or whatever kind of wherever you want to be found. So that's how you create a video that will be found locally. Now, I'm not going to. I still have the opportunity here in Minnesota to find your video on plumbing, but I'm less likely to find it than somebody that's in Melbourne.
Gotcha. 2 questions. Firstly, how long should your description be with each video post, roughly? Is there
5 sentence?
Okay.
5 sentences that's the first 5 sentences are the most applicable. Now you can go on and on and on and on, and you can have a paragraph. It's not going to hurt you, but just don't keyword stuff and just have it without an actual framework like you're trying to write a story of some sort. So
how many tags can you apply to each video, or is there a recommended amount, etc.?
You're going to fill the tags out. Okay. So the tags are in the back side of your video. It's going to ask you to tag your video. Okay. I want you and understanding tagging is a very important component of it. It only gives you so many tags, and every single one of your video, you are going to max out your tags.
Gotcha.
You're going to absolutely max out your tags because there's no reason not to. And you're going to keyword stuff your tags because that's what that's for. That's the part where emergency plumbing repair, plumbing and installation, whatever variation you want. That is the only place where you can just heavily do it, and that's expected on the backside of the video.
Love it. What about, I suppose, establishing your brand around the channel that you're just getting started with and you're setting up? So what I mean by that is, the style. Like, is there a typical? Do you encourage people to typically use a specific music style that's consistent across all their videos, or maybe similar graphics, or do you interview only a certain type of guests, or do you use a certain type of language? You know what I mean? Like, is there anything around that? Yeah.
Yes, people come to your channel with a certain expectation.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yep.
And do not be that eclectic artist that does one thing, then another, then another, and another, and another, and another, because nobody's going to be able to keep up with your mad scramble.
Yep.
Most people will be coming to your channel as if you're using YouTube to promote your business. They're going to be there. We're using Plumber, and I want people to apply this specifically to their business. But you want to offer them a variety of plumbing videos. You want to be crazy with how many different kinds of plumbing videos. Here we're setting a toilet. Here we're plumbing a sink. Here we're checking leak detection. Now we're installing a simple faucet. Anything and everything is a video in and of itself.
Yeah.
But don't go into drag racing if you're a plumber.
Gotcha. Which kind of, I suppose, so when we're talking about, the video or that example you gave before with the chiropractor who's filming himself at the gun range, and then he's like, oh, by the way, does that kind of contradict a little bit that method that you recommend?
No. Here's the beauty now. That person has now started to develop YouTube as a business in and of itself. That person's brand. We're going to go back to what you originally said here, Matt.
Yep.
You talked about the brand.
Yep.
Well, the owner of that business is the brand. Okay. And now, once he's established himself as the chiropractor in his area, he's probably created some videos called Basic Chiropractic Care in whatever area he's in. To optimize for his local area. He started to gain traction with his YouTube channel. Now he's starting to monetize the videos.
Okay.
And so he's starting to get more and more views, and people are starting to tune in to find out about the person and less about the profession.
I'm with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's when you can start to dive off. You want to become the professional. You want to become the expert. You want to hit all these plumbing videos you can. But if you are an animated person, if you're an interesting person, and if you want to develop YouTube as a business, people are going to start to like you. They're going to want to know more about you. You are now like a sitcom host.
Yeah.
Okay. You are more like a personality, and it's okay for you to then start to go outside of the realm of what you normally do.
Okay. So with that in mind, like when we're setting up a YouTube channel, business, etc., do you like what's the end goal here? Like what are we sort of striving towards?
Okay. When you initially set up a channel, when you're first getting started, I want you to focus on your business. I want you to focus on what you're trying to sell. I want you to focus on educating the consumer. I want you to give away every important piece of information you ever have. Things that you think in your head you should never share on a video because this is proprietary information. And if the world knew about this, oh my God, I'm giving away the keys to the kingdom. Do that. The reason I'm telling you to do that is because you've now separated yourself from everybody else that is refusing to do that.
Yeah.
Your audience doesn't know you're giving away your very best information. Do you know what the audience is thinking?
Wow,
this guy's giving away this guy is smart. He's giving away the tip of the iceberg. What else does this guy know? And you could just be a babbling idiot and not know anything else. Okay. But your audience, their perception when the video ends is, I need that guy.
Yeah.
I need to find out more from him. And they're going to start to research you. But here is the key. Don't get off topic when you're initially setting up your YouTube channel. Don't try to become the YouTube superstar. Let that happen organically and naturally if it's meant to be. Focus on creating your YouTube channel to promote your business specifically.
Gotcha.
Especially in your local area. And then let your personality shine through. Don't be too polished, like your friend or whatever is worried about high production and this and that and the other thing. People love personalities. Really, that's the most contagious thing is a person's personality.
Yep.
How engaging are they? How energetic are they? How relatable are they? Is the information they're giving away high quality content, and can they present it in an entertaining fashion? There's two components to creating a successful video that will continue to be shared, will continue to bring you in business. And the two components are in this order for YouTube: entertainment and education.
Gotcha.
Okay? Those are the two components. If you are, here's an example. If you are very dry and boring, you can have the best information on the internet, but nobody is going to be able to tolerate you. If you are very dry and boring, but you have the best, and if you are very dry and boring and you have the worst information, but you deliver it with a lot of energy and enthusiasm and pizzazz, people are going to tune in just a little bit longer,
right?
Because your personality is contagious. Yeah, maybe I didn't use that example very well, Matt, but in reality, it is what it is.
Yeah,
I hope the point gets across. That's the most important thing.
Yeah. Okay, look, we'll get wrapping up towards the end of this episode here. I suppose what I'd like to ask you, and maybe you can give us your experience, or how it played out for you. What can I expect, or what can the listeners out there expect their business to look like if 3, 4, 5 years down the road, if they do start doing this and they start doing it correctly?
Amazing. That's a phenomenal question that I can show you businesses. Bulk Reef Supply. Look up a company called Bulk Reef Supply. The owner is a friend of mine. He called me up and said, Stan, I want to sell aquarium products. And I freaking laughed at the guy, Matt. I'm just like, you and everybody else that has a garage and a dream wants to sell aquarium products. And you know what he did? He put YouTube video up after YouTube video up, and he went from a garage space where he created his first product was called Reef Chili for aquarium corals, right?
Okay.
And he went from that very specific product that wasn't even very good to now I think his warehouse is over 100,000 square feet, and he's got 12, 13 full-time employees and expanding like crazy through the use of YouTube videos because he knew how to use YouTube like a tool.
Wow. Well, I think that's pretty good. A pretty good example there. So, look, I suppose in closing, I just like to leave maybe a few takeaways that I took from this episode, Stan, and maybe you'd like to do the same as well. So, YouTube, primarily, there's two main reasons you would use it. Firstly, it's to promote your business, and secondly, YouTube can become a business itself, which we're going to dive into a little bit more, I believe, in the third and final episode of this series. Then the framework that you also left behind there was you can, in order to figure out whether or not there's a market or what you need to be talking about, you can use YouTube itself. So jump on YouTube, type in a relevant search topic that may relate to your business, and let YouTube finish the sentence for you. And if there's content that's already on YouTube, then it pops up, then that's a pretty good indication that there's people looking for it and people watching it.
Yes, and using YouTube itself is more for content creators. So that's when you start to become more worldwide YouTube generation, videos worldwide. That's when and there's specific ways you can use YouTube itself to tell you where you should be at. Specifically to hone your area in, Matt, and maybe you'd know more about this than I would. Do you guys have Keyword Planner down where you're at?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Okay, so Keyword Planner will help you understand your local area better than YouTube ever would.
Yeah.
Okay, and if there's other planning devices, maybe you should let the audience know or put a link or something to it for for a local or whatever, whoever your audience is there, to make sure that they get that tool in their hands, because the YouTube itself is more for content creators.
It's funny, like having this conversation, it's kind of apparent to me that YouTube is kind of like it's like SEO used to be. Like it's a lot easier to get wins on YouTube. I guess the reality is there's a lot less people doing it, which is probably why. But what I mean by that is, when I asked you that question about niching yourself, if you're trying to create SEO friendly, content on your website, it would be very hard for you to appear in search queries if you were trying to target the search key term, plumber Melbourne. However, in YouTube, it's probably likely that you will show up in search queries because there's not probably as many people trying to optimize for that search term. So it almost seems to me like it's like SEO was 10 years ago.
So really, the point you just made, Matt, here's the absolute most relevant point about that subject: is YouTube is still in its pioneering phase.
Yeah.
YouTube, people are like waiting for it to pass away. It is growing by leaps and bounds. In fact, when you talk to the younger generation, anyone under 30 years old, 80% of them prefer YouTube over television.
Yeah.
Gary Vaynerchuk said it best. He said, YouTube stars make the mistake of trying to be on TV, when in reality, TV stars need to understand they need to be on YouTube.
Yeah. Man, it's true, TV, as you and I would have known it growing up, is dead. I mean, we don't even have a television in the house. We do, but it's only used for Netflix. We don't watch traditional television. So yeah, I 100% agree with that. All right, well, look, let's wrap this up. Is there anything else you wanted to add before we jump out of this episode?
We got 2 more episodes and a ton of information to cover.
Rock and roll. All right. Well, that's a wrap, listeners. Of course, if you have any questions or any queries or anything to do any feedback that you had from that episode, just go ahead and either leave it in the comments section on the show notes at the site shed, or wherever you see this episode across social media, whatever it is, just post some comments there, and either I'll try and answer it myself or I'll get Stan back on the show and he can answer it for you. We're going to come back in the following episode and we're going to be talking about creating great videos. So stay tuned for that one. And that is a wrap. Thank you for listening to another episode of Toolbox Talks. If you're liking what you hear, then you can head across to the siteshed.com, where you can join our community by signing up to our Toolbox Talks. You'll get sent a weekly notification, which is basically a highlight of everything that we've spoken about during that week, along with any other industry news that may be relevant or specific to the trades. If you're enjoying the show, you can head across to iTunes, Stitcher, or SoundCloud, where you can leave us a review. That would be fantastic, and all the reviews get read out in the show. Likewise, if you have any friends or colleagues that you think would benefit from the show and the episodes that we create, then please go ahead and share it with them.